The Storm Draugar are a savage warband of Chaos Space Marines that has marauded and pillaged the Ultima Segmentum since the Horus Heresy. They are brutes and madmen of such evil and infamy that their dark names are certain to echo within the annals of history for eons to come. They inhabit the dark region of space known as the River of Exiles within the tumultuous Exile sector. Led by the Chaos Lord Malak Blackspawn, his sorcerer brother Ingar Blackspawn, and their vile cadre of lieutenants, the Storm Draugar have been fighting the long war against all challengers, from the Imperium to their fellow traitors, for over 10,000 years. Malak and Ingar began as nothing more but human trash, born to a whore and left to fend for themselves when she abandoned them at the ages of 4 and 6 respectively. The duo depended on no one else but one another their whole lives, Malak being the older and stronger of the pair, and Ingar being considerably smarter, later manifesting psychic powers, which played no small hand in their survival in the desolate tunnels and catacombs. Together they became an eventually well-known pair of deadly bandits in the black pits of dying Chthoniya in spite of their young ages. When the Emperor arrived in the barren world, the Blackspawns were rounded up with much of the rest of Chthoniya's youth to be recruited into the Lunar Wall Space Marine Legion. Though adapting to the regimented lifestyle of the Legion was not easy on Malak, and Ingar had to strive to keep his growing powers under control. The two had become legendary warriors within the 16th Legion. The Blackspawn brothers earned great renown for their deeds in the name of the Emperor and Legion. Tales of their feats became the stuff of legend amongst the Legionnaires, and the brothers would earn quite the following amongst the fellow Lunar Wolves, and even admiration of some of their cousins in the other legions. They were at the forefront of the most brutal battles with the Lunar Wolves, Malak slaying countless foes with his massive relic blade, Vanquisher, and Ingar felling even the mightiest enemies with his arcane powers and Xenotech Force Sword, Nirvana. Eventually they were promoted to the glorious First Company and found themselves fighting alongside their honoured Primarch. Malak was promoted to the prestigious ranks of the Justurin, while Ingar found a place of high regard amongst the ranks of the Legion's Librarium. However, unlike many Lunar Wolves, the Blackspawn brothers never saw Horus as their father, nor their fellow Legionnaires as brothers. They had not lost their vicious edge, even in their indoctrination. In the end, behind all the hails of blood to the Emperor, the Blackspawn brothers were still bound together by their own shared blood. And so, when the Warmaster turned to heresy, there was no doubt what the brothers' course of action was. To oppose their gene-father was needless suicide, but to face their former cousins on the field of war? That was a situation in which the pair could prosper. Malak finally getting to test his might against truly worthy foes, and Ingar prepared to bring sorcerous death to his former allies in order to maintain his position of influence within the Legion. The brothers fought under the Warmaster's banner, gaining renown across the traitor legions for their foul exploits, until the horrific battles of Istvan 3 and 5. After the pyres of loyalist bodies were lit, and Horus proclaimed that nothing could stop the traitor legions, Ingar was suddenly assailed with extremely vivid visions of Horus's downfall and the subsequent scouring. He foresaw that he and his brother would not survive, perishing upon the vengeful spirit at the hands of none other than Sanguinius himself. Rather than mourn the Warmaster of these visions, Ingar instead decided that now was the time for him and his brother to take their leave of the legions. Such a choice could have been thought of as madness, which Malak certainly considered when his brother first told him of what he foresaw. Malak was certainly against betraying the heresy, for abandoning the legions was not only tantamount to suicide, but would also cast great shame upon the duo's names for all time. Doubtless the Blackspawns would be hunted for all eternity by those previously held as brothers, regardless of the outcome of the Horus heresy. But Ingar was convinced of his visions. Death and ruin awaited the legions, and only the mad would stay his course. Malak was eventually convinced, but only after days of counsel and coaxing. Ingar prophesied that a warp storm, which he called the River of Exiles, would provide the warband with shelter, but a great deal of resources would be needed: ships, weapons, and men. Thus, the Blackspawn brothers began their preparations, gathering as many supporters and vessels as they could. Trying to be discreet, the pair scoured the traitor legions for disgruntled individuals, cutthroats, powermongers, or those who simply wished to remove themselves from the fratricidal conflict. This did not go unnoticed by the Warmaster, however, and as the Blackspawns and their sizable group of supporters prepared for their discreet departure, they were attacked by the forces of the Sons of Horus. Most who chose to follow the Blackspawns died in a brutal ship-to-ship combat, and in the end, only the Blackspawns themselves and a handful of supporters managed to escape aboard a single ship, a Vengeance-class cruiser known only as the Storm. Operating as pirates in their travels east, this Carivan band of twice-downed traitors became known as the Storm Draugar, the name coined by the traitor Imperial Army commander during the infamous Cortesh raid. the Blackspawn's warriors had landed upon the armory world of Cortesh, desperate for supplies. But the garrison easily outnumbered them, and with their tanks and other armour were more than capable of defeating the depleted forces of the Storm. In a brilliant act of cunning, Ingar utilised the recent snowfall on the icy planet as cover for an ambush on the main body of the traitor garrison as they patrolled in search of the warband's landing parties, deep in the snow-blasted wastes. A thunderstorm rolled across the wastelands, and as the Imperial Army garrison marched on, it was said that the Chaos Marines rose from the ice like revenants of Corteshian myth. Overwhelmed by the suddenness of the ambush, the garrison was all but slain to a man. The chainsaw and bolters of the warband slimed them down as they cowered next to the easily boarded and destroyed tanks and transports. The Storm Draugar are mostly made up of a cross menagerie of Chaos Space Marines from various backgrounds and paths. Some are members of the old legions, having defected with the Blackspawn brothers during the Horus Heresy nearly 10 millennia ago. Others have arrived from more recent chapters, or were created from the flesh pits by the warband's twisted apothecarian. The Storm Draugar holds their own cult, known as the Storm Cult. The Storm Cult professes that the Chaos Gods are but elements of the Warp itself, which is a conscious being. The Warp is the all-powerful creator of all, but is a being of such power and majesty that no mortal, man nor Astartes can understand its glory. Thus, the Dark Gods are but personifications, cruelly rendered so that man may understand and pay homage to the Warp itself through the Chaos Gods. Thus, the Storm Draugar see the pursuit of a single god's favour as unambitious, for only the truly powerful and devoted treat with the full might of the Warp itself. Thus the Storm Draugar are the kings of the river, the thrice-damned traitors of traitors who lord over the River of Exiles, striking dread into the hearts of both loyalist swine and fellow traitors in equal measure.